You want to train calisthenics, handstands, bodyweight strength. These are fantastic, ideal for training at home. You can do beginner all the way through to advanced exercises. They're super cheap. I picked up the second set for $50. Today I'm going to take you through 20 plus handstands and calisthenics strength exercises that you can do on them. So let's jump in with some you might already know. So we've got the tuck position in the L sit. So just to hold in this position, you can hold there for time. Once you get a bit more flexibility there and a bit more conditioning, you can start to open the legs up, go into straight-legged position. You could also do a straddle version. Now the cool thing with the straddle one, especially if we move the bars inwards, externally rotate a little bit and hold on the front, I can actually sit onto the bar to get into the position and use that as a bit of a safety if I fall backwards. So now I can wheel myself into position, same thing, have the knees bent to start with, and then over time, straighten the legs. Now, if the L-sit positions are too challenging to start with, we can just go with a standard support position. So support position is externally rotating the hands, shoulders back and down, chest open. You could even have toe assist in that position. And then as you get stronger with it, you can lift 1 foot up, 2 feet up, and then just build time here. Make sure your shoulders are back and down and you're not collapsing in that position. We have the standard bent arm push-in movement. So push up, so nice and easy would be up in this position, going nice and deep and pushing up to a rounded upper back position, back down again, trying to keep a straight line between your shoulders and your toes. If that's easy, we can flip it over, use the bars in this position, and this allows us to go deeper than a standard push-up and all the way back up again. If it's too hard, we can do the knee version. Once the push-ups are easy, we can start to go towards the dip. Now with the dip position, if you don't have this already, you want to be conditioning that top position, so hold in there. You want to also be conditioning the bottom position, so holds in that position. You could do eccentrics, so start on the top, slowly lower down, use toe assist, or a little jump to go back up. And if you're close but just need a little bit of assistance, you could put a band across the bars and then put the knees there and make sure you get full range of motion and slowly decrease the band thickness until you can do it without. Now once the dips are easy, we can go to the Russian dip where you go all the way down to the bottom, take the elbows back, back again and back up. We could do a single bar dip. Now this is great if you're working towards things like bar muscle ups. Now you could make the push up a little bit more pikey, so you start to go down towards things like handstand push up type positions. You can start to raise a leg there. Now you are taking the head below the hand, so it's slightly harder than the floor version. And then that bottom position is like the shoulder stand position, which is really important for lots of movements, to understand the transition between moving the hips down and the shoulders up for entries into handstand, whether it's press handstand, handstand push-ups. Also things like muscle ups and that are helped by knowing how to use that seesaw between the shoulders and the hips. So I could start with something like a shoulder stand position, so arms into the side, 1 knee up, 2 up, nice and safe position because I'm leaning backwards, I'm not vertical. So in that position there, and then I'm just going to bring my hips down, my shoulders up, and then end up in an L sit. I could straighten the L sit, then I can go back to my shoulder stand, keeping that angle the same. I could straighten the legs in that position and back again. Now obviously be careful there, you don't want to back splat. So get used to the tuck position first, get someone to spot you, or put the bars nice and close to the wall so you can reach your foot out and touch if you do start to go over. And then once you are more comfortable in that shoulder stand position, you can progress to things like eccentric handstand push-ups. Now eccentric handstand push-ups obviously demand that you have a handstand already. So if you've got a strong handstand and you're happy to handstand on a high surface, you can then do the eccentric handstand push-up there. And you could go from there through to L-sit and back to that shoulder stand position. And then obviously the progression then would be to go from the eccentrics to the full movements. But that is challenging, so you might need to work that first on the floor or on boxes and things. Partial range, there's lots of options, but the P-bars allow that deficit full range of motion. Now talking handstands, we obviously have the handstand press variations. You have the harder ones like L-sit all the way up. You have stool to press, so coming down. Now the cool thing with the bars with the stool to press is your feet can go below the bars. But so it allows other options, more clearance, but obviously again, you need to be happy to be higher up on the bars. You can then obviously go into the planche progressions. So you got your standard planche, open out to harder positions, but also progressions going from L-sit through to planche, whether that's straight position or straddle through to planche. Then you got your row variations, so we can go underneath. So double one is probably the easiest one to start with. So parallel grip on the bar. So there. Now you might be a little bit restricted depending on your limb length. I'm quite short, so my arms aren't super long. So potentially you might need to raise these up a little bit, or you're just going to have more of an active start position, and then lifting all the way up, slowly back down, trying to get as high as you can at the top. If that's easy, straightening the legs, same thing. Now you can play around with single bar version. I don't like this one as much as the neutral grip version, but a fun one to add is to do more of a pullover position. So bring the legs up and then pull yourself over the bar. So you have to try and get hip on top and then go over from there. Obviously watch there, you don't use too much momentum. They're pretty stable, they don't look it, but they are. But anything crazy is going to take you over. Now you can go into the false grip options, that's why I've got the tape on there. I've done some the other day, so this is the video of the muscle up variations you can do. So you are limited slightly by the height, but if you go into more of a front lever version, you could do your eccentrics, your partial range, and then the full muscle up itself. Then we have the front lever variations. Now in a tight tuck position, you are again limited by the height of the bars, the same as the rows, but when you start to open out to harder positions, the shoulders are going that way, it brings your body up higher so you don't run into the same issues. So harder positions, so you're up more higher off the floor, so you don't have the same limitations as you do in the tuck. Now you can play around with some more arm balance positions like elbow levers, so this type of thing, easier crow, either on the lower bars or on the higher ones, and they're good as well for your transitions to go slowly through to your L set, especially if you're working towards planche to L set and things like that. For bent arm planche or the easier version, the elbow lever, I can turn inwards, so I've externally rotated the bars more, brings the elbows in. I can then lay the hip on top of the elbows and to go out into that position. The harder version being the bent arm planche or straighter positions. So let me know if I've missed any exercises. Let me know if you have any questions regarding any of those. You'll find all of those and more in my app. Link is down in the description, and I'll speak to you next time.